Most people think life changes suddenly, like one day you wake up motivated, confident, disciplined, and everything finally starts working. But honestly, for most people, improvement starts in a really weird phase. A phase where nothing feels exciting anymore, but nothing feels rewarding yet either. You stop enjoying your old habits, but your new habits still feel uncomfortable. You're trying to improve your life, but somehow you feel more lost than before. And if you're in that phase right now, this video is probably for you because this strange, awkward stage usually happens right before your life actually starts changing and nobody talks about it. You know what this phase looks like? You start pulling away from distractions that used to comfort you. Maybe you don't enjoy endless scrolling as much anymore. Maybe partying every weekend suddenly feels empty. Maybe gaming for 8 hours straight doesn't even feel fun now, just distracting. But at the same time, the better version of your life hasn't arrived yet either. You're not super productive. You're not fully disciplined. You still procrastinate. You still feel confused. So now you're stuck in this uncomfortable middle. Not your old self, not your future self either. And this is where most people panic because they think, if I'm improving, shouldn't I feel happier already? But here's where it gets interesting. Growth usually feels worse before it feels better because your brain loves familiarity, even unhealthy familiarity. That's why people go back to toxic habits, not because they enjoy them, but because they're predictable. Think about it. When you start changing your life, your routines break, your identity shifts, your comfort disappears, and for a while, your brain treats that like danger. That's why this phase feels so emotionally weird. You wake up feeling unmotivated. You question yourself constantly. You wonder if you're even making progress, even though deep down, you are changing. It's just invisible at first. And this is the part nobody tells you. Real self-improvement is usually very boring in the beginning. There's no movie montage, no dramatic transformation, no overnight confidence boost. It's mostly small, invisible choices repeated quietly. Going to sleep earlier, saying no to distractions, studying even when you don't feel focused, going to the gym even when nobody notices, trying again after another unproductive day. And at first, those actions feel pointless because the results lag behind the effort. That's the frustrating part. You can do the right things for weeks and still feel like nothing is changing, but something is changing: your identity. Now, this might sound simple, but this realization changed everything for me. Your life improves twice, first internally, then externally. Internal improvement happens when your standards change, your mindset changes, your awareness changes. External improvement happens later. That's when people finally notice your confidence, your discipline, your results, your glow up. But most people quit before the external part arrives because the internal phase feels invisible. Let me give you an example. Imagine someone trying to become healthier. At first, their life actually feels harder. They're sore from workouts. They miss junk food. Their energy feels inconsistent. The scale barely changes, so emotionally, it feels like failure. But internally, something important is happening. They're building evidence. Evidence that they can keep promises to themselves. Evidence that they can survive discomfort. Evidence that they're becoming different. And eventually, that invisible progress becomes visible, but only because they stayed long enough. And honestly, this applies to almost everything: confidence, discipline, social skills, mental health, productivity. The beginning rarely feels rewarding. That's why this awkward phase is actually a good sign. It means your old identity is losing control, but your new identity hasn't fully formed yet. You're in transition, and transitions are messy. Now here's something that helped me a lot during this phase. Stop measuring progress emotionally, because emotions are terrible progress trackers. Some days you'll feel motivated, some days you'll feel empty, some days you'll feel behind, but that doesn't mean you're failing. Progress is better measured through actions. Did you still show up? Did you still try? Did you still move forward even slightly? That matters way more than how inspired you felt. And this is where people accidentally sabotage themselves. They wait to feel ready before becoming consistent, but consistency usually creates the feeling, not the other way around. Nobody wakes up magically disciplined. Most disciplined people are just good at acting before motivation arrives. And once you understand that, everything changes because now you stop treating bad days like proof you're broken. You start seeing them as normal. You realize, oh, this uncomfortable feeling might actually mean I'm growing. That mindset shift is powerful. But let's make this practical. If you feel stuck in this weird in-between stage right now, here are a few things you should do. First, reduce the noise. A lot of people can't hear their own progress because their brains are constantly overloaded with music, notifications, short-form content, comparison, and endless opinions online. Your brain never gets silent long enough to notice growth. Try spending even 20 minutes a day without stimulation. No phone, no scrolling, no background noise, just think. It feels uncomfortable at first, but clarity usually appears in quiet environments. Second, stop restarting every Monday. Seriously, one bad day does not erase your progress. People waste months because they keep emotionally resetting themselves. They miss one workout and think, well, I ruined everything. No, you just had one bad day. Improvement comes from returning quickly, not being perfect. That's a huge difference. Third, build proof instead of chasing motivation. Tiny proof matters. Reading 5 pages, doing 10 push-ups, studying for 20 focused minutes, waking up slightly earlier. Those actions seem small, but they slowly change how you see yourself. And identity is everything because once you genuinely believe, I'm someone who follows through, your habits become easier to maintain. And finally, be patient with the invisible phase. This is probably the hardest part emotionally because nobody claps for invisible progress. Nobody sees the mental battles. Nobody sees the discipline. Nobody sees the effort it takes to keep going quietly. But your future life is built in those invisible moments. Not the dramatic ones, the small ones, the boring ones, the lonely ones. That's where real change starts. And honestly, if your life feels strange right now, if you feel disconnected from your old habits, if you feel stuck between who you were and who you want to become, you might be closer than you think. Not broken, not failing, just transitioning. So don't run back to your old comfort zone just because growth feels unfamiliar. Stay in the phase long enough for the results to catch up because one day, the things that feel invisible right now will become the exact reason your life changed. Start small, stay consistent, and trust the process a little longer. You got this.